Good morning, y'all. Once again, we're going to continue our look at what it means to be Presbyterian. We've been discussing things theologically and specifically looking at what we call the 5 points of Calvinism, or TULIP, and we're up to the most controversial part of that. That is what the L stands for, and it means in the acronym limited atonement. And if there was ever a subject that was worthy of a way longer discussion than what I could possibly do here, it's this one. This is the point where a lot of folks within Christendom are going to disagree with what the Presbyterian position is. Part of it is kind of the word. I mean, limited atonement. That is not a word that I even like. Although in the acronym it works. But I would prefer, instead of saying limited atonement, to say definite atonement. That God, from all creation, before the foundation of the world, had decreed that His Son was going to pay the penalty for our sins on the cross for His definite people, the ones that we call the elect. Now, there's a few things within that, but first of all, it doesn't mean that Christ's death was not sufficient to save everyone. It absolutely was, but it is only efficient for some. And what that means is, yes, Christ's death was good enough that it could have saved everybody in the world. That's the way it could have worked should God had determined to do so. But instead, God had determined that there was going to be some that He was going to elect into life, and some that He was going to elect into eternal torment. Now, we don't know who those people are. We have no idea who those people are or where they are. We just know that we have been called by God to take this message into the world. The message of Jesus Christ, that His death is sufficient to cover all of our sins. And that's the great part about the gospel, is the fact that we do know that God has already worked out all of these things, but He hasn't called us to look back and say, or to step back and say, well, you know what? God's grace is sufficient. He already knows what's going to happen. I don't have to do anything. That is not what God has called us to do. God has said, I have my elect. But guess what, Krishan Ducker? You don't know who they are. I do. And I'm going to use you to send my message out to everyone. And so this doctrine of limited or definite atonement is certainly something that we need to grasp, we need to study as we look into things like election, particularly as we looked at last time, that part about Rebekah giving birth to Jacob and Esau. Jacob I have loved, Esau I have hated. It means that God is determined. He has a definite group that He's going to be atoning the sins for. Now again, I couldn't possibly do this subject the justice it deserves in the amount of time. So I'm going to include just some links for you guys to look at. And please, if you have any questions on this, I would really love the opportunity to sit down and speak to you. This is probably not even a one-time discussion. This is probably a discussion we'll have over a long period of time. But just know, this is one of the things that kind of makes Presbyterianism unique within the theology of Christendom. But again, it should not be something that so divides us from others out there within the realms of Christendom that we become set off away from them, or we think we're so much better or whatever else. In fact, it should just be one of those points where we cling to and we believe, but we don't let it affect us to the point that we hole ourselves off or we wall ourselves off away from other believers in Jesus Christ. Again, hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you the next time we get together. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.